Quiet.
Wow, Medea Goes to Camp Part 2 was funnier than the last one.
I guess.
What? Oh my god, my chest. That movie was amazing.
It's just that.
Just what?
It's just that all Tyler Perry movies are just alike. They're just not funny to me.
I see what this is. You're a racist.
What?
My mom warned me about you white women. What? That's racist. First of all, black people can't be racist. That is not true. Yes, it is. I can't believe I didn't notice sooner. How am I racist if we had sex? That's what a racist would say. Look, just because you like black penis doesn't mean you like black men. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Stop oppressing my thoughts, colonizer.
Watch where you walking, bitch!
What did you... Wait a minute. I'm white!
There's no easy way to say this, but I kind of have to kill you.
Oh, man! That's some racist shit!
No. I don't want you to think that. I don't discriminate. I hate everybody. Equally.
Well, damn, man. Is there anything I can do? Hey, how about I give you the N-word pass?
N-word pass? Oh, my.
Yeah! Impress your friends with it. Skirt little kids with it. Hey, it makes you 15% more funnier.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Five Black Comics. We're here every Saturday live on YouTube and Facebook, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. if you're out on the West Coast. We have a very special show today. Today our show is about discrimination in animation, and also we're going to be talking about the racist royals. So we have two actually hot topics that we're going to touch on today. Who would have thought that I can hear some feedback? I'm not sure who's responsible, but who would have thought that there is racism in animation? But we're going to get into it today. Like I said, we're going to also get into the royals. We have a very special guest today on our show. Our very special guest has worked on Nickelodeon. He's also worked on Spike. On the Spike Network. He also did some animation for Little Bill, Dora the Explorer. Also did some work for Disney. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome writer, producer, director, illustrator, Ivan Bennett.
Hey, welcome. Hey.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
All right.
You forgot to add magician as well.
Magician.
No, just kidding.
I know, right? So throw that in there. So, I mean, who would have thought? I mean, racism to me always pops up in places you don't expect it. When you watch TV and you watch cartoons and you see all these different cartoon shows on TV, behind the scenes you don't expect any kind of racism. You think everybody's all happy and it's all lovey-dovey, kumbaya. Apparently it's not, because as comedians we know we deal with racism in what we do. So I'm sure there's racism everywhere. And one of the reasons for doing this show is I want people to know they're not alone. So if you're black and you're watching this show and you're dealing with racist stuff on your job, we just want you to know you're not alone. So Ivan, I'm going to go to you. And if you can give us some instances as to where you experienced some racist some discrimination in what you do and how you dealt with it, and I'm sure that would help someone that's watching the show to deal with any issues that they come up with, and then we can get into what you actually do with your achievements.
Sure. Whoa, like that's a whoa. That's a landmine.
Yeah.
I because you don't want to name names because the problem is the industry.
Right.
People like
we're not asking for names.
Whoa.
Yeah, this situation.
I will say though. Yeah. I will say though that one time, like for example, there was an instance where I was doing illustrations for this cartoon on the network that I will not name, and they were doing they were doing stories like folk tales or stories or whatever, and so the story that they were doing was it was the king and like his three sons and like the magic feather or magic carpet or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, I got the assignment and they're like, okay, go and, go do the story. So I went and did the story with the king who was black and he had 3 black sons. I thought it was perfectly fine. They didn't say he was Asian. They didn't say he was, Mexican. They didn't say what. Like, okay, so, there are black kings, No one mentioned to me, no one said anything when I handed that in. But the next assignment, they made it a point to be like, okay, we just want to make sure that you know that this one, they're supposed to be Asian. And so we want to make sure that you make you make the characters in this one Asian and so forth. And and I would every single time like, okay, make sure these characters, we want them to be white, or we want them to I was just gonna make everybody in the world black. And even if I did, like that would be a crime. But yeah, they were really upset. And when I had a blog and I mentioned something about it, and like I said, like it got back to whoever was in charge, and they were just like, "Oh, we're just we don't think that way, and we're liberal and open minded and so forth." And then I was like, "So why did you give me the note? Did you just presume everybody that I was going to make is going to be black?
Yeah.
If I do a story in Hong Kong, that I'm just gonna throw black people in there, or or whatever. That's like one prime example.
Yeah. I'm always curious as to and it's not just in your situation. Like, why do they cater to the racist part of the society? You know what I mean? Like, it seems like that's what they're doing. So what if all the characters are black? You know what I mean? Why will people not watch a show with a black king and 3 black sons? I mean, do they know something about white people that we don't know? Could they not sell commercials? Could they not sell, advertisements on the show? I mean, exactly what's going on there. I mean, you're in the industry. I'm thinking that's part of it, but I could be wrong. But that's just my assessment of it.
It's interesting because, I've talked. I have friends overseas who talk to me about they were I had one friend and she was just like, oh my God, I would see that, you guys have the Cosby Show in America, and they're like, that's racist. And I was like, whoa, what? I forget all the stuff that happened after that. But I was like, but the Cosby Show is black family in Brooklyn and living life and they have kids and stuff. They're like, no, but it's racist because there are no white people on that show. I'm like, do I have to involve a white person in everything that I do?
Yeah. I mean,
in the UK, they had this whole mentality. They're like, well, there's no white people in the show. That's unrealistic. You know?
Yeah.
It seems like they seem to think nothing would sell unless there's white people in. I mean, I've heard this story. I'm not sure if it's true. I'm not in Hollywood, but I heard Eddie Murphy was told he can't do a Coming to America 2 unless there's black people in Coming to America 2. I guess he wanted to black cast. You know, and this is Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so what do they? I mean, like, are white people that they would absolutely not go to and watch a show unless there's white people in? And that's been proven wrong because look at Black Panther.
Right.
Look at all the Tyler Perry movies that makes billions of dollars. So it's been proven that Black people do have box office appeal. We have TV appeal, but they still consistently try to make us include white people in in whatever we do.
Well, yeah, because there's always debate about like, well, is it going to be diversity or is it going to be about profit? And it's like they're not mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? It's like you can have diversity and profit. And like you said, Black Panther, that show that. You know, this new show Bridgerton on Netflix showed that. People were like, "What? Black people in a historical fiction?" They're like Black people didn't exist until like 1968 or something like that. It's like like there were Black people back then doing stuff. It's like So like there has been this sort of schism where people think, oh well, they're just pandering and they're trying to make it diverse. And it's like no, it's like there are people who want to see themselves, and it's natural and it's historical and it's like you make money doing it,
Yeah. Okay, Tanya, I'm going to go to you. As far as the blacks in animation, in your research, I mean, what amazed me is that like they had Bugs Bunny in blackface. I saw Elmer Fudd in blackface. Like I'm like, why? What does that do? What is the absolute reason for that? I mean, you can answer that, or you don't have to. I'm just thinking out loud, but you can, go with whatever else you found out.
My question is this: the effects that negative images, cartoon and likewise have on our youth, and I wanted to know, Sir Ivan, how much say do you have in controlling a character you make? So let's say, for instance, usually I know back in the day, all the cartoon characters you saw were like just like Hollywood, fat, quote unquote ugly, or like talking really kind of messed up or whatever, or they were criminal, or it's not a good image usually. It's not a Cosby image, put it that way. Well, that's not a good image now, but you know what I'm saying. So how much control do you have of that? And as an animator, do you see the effects that has on us, and you try to do what you can when you can?
Yeah, absolutely. There was another show that I most recently worked on where there was where a friend of mine actually reached out and she was like, "Look, man, I know you worked on this show, but I feel like it's kind of suspect." And I was like, "Well, what happened?" And she was like, "I was watching the show." And she was like, "I had my 3-year-old or whatever watching the show, and there was this character who who was supposed to be a black belt, right? He is like black belt, ninja type character and whatever. And he wasn't human, so he was colored black, but he also spoke in like black slang, and it was like, yeah. So yeah, and I was like, yeah, that did it. I didn't even realize it as it was going through production, because like I knew the story that like originally the character was purple, and it was like, oh, kids don't like purple, they want to and then they were going to make the character like a female. So there are all these stories, and it just so happened to be that like they signed a guest celebrity voice who happened to be black, but add all that together, and it's like, oh man, that's just a bad look,
Right.
Sometimes stuff like that does get through, and you're just like, yeah, man, it just is what it is. But there's another time where I remember I was working on the script, and they were like, "Oh, we want to have the gorilla come in and smash watermelons." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa."
Wow.
I'm like, you understand the feedback you're gonna get if you have gorilla smash? Like, they're like, "Well,
yeah,
they weren't even thinking about it. They weren't even thinking about it,
Yeah, I beg to differ. I think subconsciously people that are already in the industry are already thinking about it. They just don't know they're still thinking about it because that is the impression it leaves on the brain. You see what I'm saying? So even if it's not me, the African American saying, "Oh my God, how could they show that?" The person who makes those images from the Walt Disney days and from the beginning of the days, from the beginning of time of television, it's been a passed on mental what's the word, overexposure, I don't know what to say, undersubtle racist, and not intentional. Not intentional. No one's going around, I don't think, well, some people are, but not most people are not sitting up here saying, we're going to make this cartoon as racist as possible. It's just that they're so used to the watermelon smashing and seeing the monkey, like that's funny, that thing. So until we step up and say, nah, like you said something, I think that's going to make someone stop for a second. And the next time that happens, they'll say, wow, maybe I better not do that.
Yeah. It's funny, I saw a Gorilla Glue commercial. I saw there was a black guy in a Gorilla Glue commercial. And I just didn't feel comfortable with seeing somebody black in Gorilla Glue commercial.
Gorilla. Right.
God, something about it, I didn't feel right.
He needed that check, man.
Yeah, I know, but it just didn't sit right because Kev, we're gonna go to Kevin. Kevin's on the road. He's in Florida.
Yes.
His show is coming up pretty soon, so we're gonna go to Kevin. What's up, brother?
Hey, Carl, what's up? What's up, everybody? Hey, Carl, just piggyback on what you said earlier, about white people. There was a major controversy about a few years ago when they were going to have the first black James Bond.
Oh.
And James Bond is not even is a made up character.
Yes.
He's not even a real person.
Yes.
And they were upset about having a black James Bond. Then there was talk about a black Superman, maybe a black Superman, and that was a big problem. They were going to try to make Superman black. So white people want to see their characters, man. They want to see these characters they created, as white,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the same way, even characters that aren't white, they play. They play they play biblical characters and stuff like that in movies and stuff like that. You see Moses is a white man in a movie. Cleopatra was a white lady. So they do want to see themselves even in characters that are, in history, characters where they're not even really white in real life. So as far as cartoons, man, there's been a lot of controversy. They've been taking, I guess the cancel culture is bringing out a lot of stuff now, canceling some of the cartoons that had racial overtones. And a lot of it, I didn't even notice, some of the stuff we don't even notice as kids when we watch it. And then, we don't know. But now we look back and we see some of this stuff that happened in Charlie Brown and stuff like that. That was just straight up racist, And so I think, I was just thinking about the characters, man, that the racism part as far as the cartoons go, there's plenty of it. And a lot of it's being canceled right now.
Yeah.
That's where we at.
Like, I never thought of Foghorn Leghorn as racist, but somebody told me that he was based off a black person. Well, looky here, boy. That kind of.
Really?
Foghorn. Yeah, I never thought about it. Somebody told me that Foghorn. I don't know if that's reaching. Desi, are you frozen, or you just have your head up like that?
I think it's
Desi is being focused.
Desi at least once a week gotta do the. Let's check on Desi alive to see if he's alive throughout the show.
Okay. All right, Desi, I'm gonna go to you next, but Foghorn Leghorn. Did you ever thought of him as a racist character? I mean, like,
I had no idea that Foghorn Leghorn was considered racist. I know one of his catchphrases is like, "Are you out of your cotton picking mind?"
Yeah, but I mean, just the way he spoke, his cadence, the way he spoke.
Yeah, I never thought of him that way. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I had a few serious questions. Like, what kind of associations can you join? Is there anyone? Is there an association for Black cartoon writers?
Yeah, there are. There are, fortunately, and especially this last year in the pandemic and everything, there's been a lot of outreach. There's been a lot of connection that wouldn't normally happen because of Zoom, actually. Because of normally it would be like, oh, these are like the Black animators of LA or something. But like now they're hooking up with, people in New York because like in Zoom you can be anywhere. You know what I mean? So there are associations. There's man, I forget what the letters are, but there are
in the comments after.
Yeah. I was gonna say there are a number of like associations where Black animators. There's a diversity in cartoons. That's a group, and like through like a Black storyboard artist the group and stuff like that. So there are like little niches where Black people find each other and definitely definitely support each other. Stuff.
So if there's an animation party and you see somebody Black across the room, do you kind of like give them the wink, like, "What's up, brother?"
Yeah. It doesn't change no matter where you are in the world, man. If you have one chocolate chip, you're like, hey, you like that. You are in the room,
Yeah. Is there any other way that we can infuse history? Like when I do my stand-up, I always try to give a little education as far as our culture. Is there anything more we could be doing as far as, I remember when I saw Robin Hood and they had Morgan Freeman as Robin Hood's partner, and I thought that was so crazy. And then later research, I found out that the Moors was all over Europe and they ran everything. But it shows that we've been brainwashed to believe a certain story. So I think what we're seeing in the dominant society is a rebellion against the brainwashing because it doesn't make them the hero of every story. So I'm just wondering, do you consciously try to put in something that'll help further along the story and like put some history in it?
Oh, definitely. In terms of whether they're my own creations or even just like trying to address, like you said, trying to circle accuracy and stuff. I do try to do that myself. The trick is that a lot of times you just have to go out and do it yourself. Because waiting for Hollywood to catch up and be like, hey, there really were Black people back then. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna be waiting for a long time. You know what I mean? But when you have Black people behind the camera, when you have Black people in the writing room, you have Black people that are engaged in the behind the scenes creative process. Like I don't know if you saw like the HBO show Watchmen, which was out last year, but like everybody was like freaked out after the first episode. They're like, "Yo, did you see? This is what happened in Oklahoma back in 1920." And a lot of Black people were like, "Yeah, we've been talking about this for years." Right. But like the Black Wall Street had never been committed to film. But I do know that there were like 12 Black writers in the room that felt like we could make this a part of the story and was able to like put it in the mainstream public eye. So you take those opportunities to do what you can when you can.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, Preach. That's your brother. You have any questions for him?
I don't know this man.
Before Preach speak real quick, let me say something before Preach.
Yeah, go ahead, Kev.
So
hold on, Preach. Hold on, Preach.
hold on, Preach. I'm sorry, brother. I'm so fired up this week to talk about the Royals, and I did all my research on that, and I'm gonna miss that segment of the show because I have to leave to go entertain people. So peace and love, everybody.
Thank you, Kevin.
Have a great show. Very interested on what the brother's talking about here, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. And
all right.
Peace and love.
All right.
Have a great show.
Malcolm dead.
Right. Go ahead, Preach.
All right.
Well, I've seen some really racist cartoons. I mean, some of the things have been mentioned already. You know, Bugs Bunny in blackface. You know, or there was one racist cartoon where they talked about Lazy Town, and it had, you know, just black people proliferated all throughout it. And so, what do you think about trying to? You know how they have the cancel culture on some cartoons and things, but what do you think about the stuff that's coming out and how you can convince not just the black writers, but some of the white writers to realize, hey, you know, maybe you shouldn't be doing that way?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because it is something that's still, like, as anybody, you know, of color in the industry knows, it's like you have to wait, you gotta judge your fights. But you know, you gotta make the points where you can make them. And like recently, for example, there is a Disney movie Soul, or a Pixar movie Soul, which was like, you know, black main character voiced by Jamie Foxx and so forth. And you know, the main writer was a black guy, and he had to like fight for a scene for them to be in the barber shop, because he's like, yo, barber in the black community, where, you know, it's like one place where black people, you know, or the black businessmen can with the electrician, with the, you know, artist, with everybody is like equal in there, you know. And he had to basically write this scene and explain to white people that, like, no, this is a touchstone moment in the movie. And they're like, oh, okay, I didn't understand. So you always kind of have to like update, you know, and sometimes it's tiring. It's just like, oh boy, here we go again. I gotta explain this stuff to some people or whatever. But it's like, you know, it's got to be done, because you know, some people are either woefully ignorant, or some people just don't even think of. They're not even thinking about it. Mm-hmm. They're not even thinking about it on a day-to-day basis, because it doesn't affect them. Why would they? But as far as racism in modern cartoons, though, there has been a thing, and even like Soul kind of played a part of it, where there's been this trope of like, if you have a black character in a main animated movie, a lot of times that black character will get transformed in like the first 15 to 20 minutes, and so they spend the most of the movie as a frog, or as a pigeon, or as anything else but a black person. You know? And it's usually like, and I wonder, is it like something that where the white creators are like, oh no, but we're trying to show that they're just as human as you and me, and it's like, but then just let them be black people, you know what I mean? Right. And so that's a trope that has been getting a lot of criticism lately, that people are trying to work around. So it just goes to show, even in the modern day, like there's still things that are happening that people, you know, in power aren't even aware of, you know.
Yeah, like Will Smith was a pigeon in one of his in the last animated movie. He gets transformed from a super spy to a pigeon.
But you know what? Like when people say a cartoon is racist or a certain black character is racist, they're saying they're racist because they make them into like a ghetto type kind of personality. But then in the black community, if you speak proper English and you don't have that ghetto type personality, you're considered not black. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? So it's like
we're brainwashed too.
I think that's a trope as well, when they tell you that because you speak well or have an education or speak in a manner that, you know, somebody might have to go research one of your words. oh, you're not black. So you're saying what you're saying is there was no W.E.B. Du Bois, with no educated black people before now in history. There were no inventors or things. I mean, because I'm sure Louis Lattimore goes, yo, Edison, no, check this out. I got this thing for your light bulb, right? He didn't do that.
But even if he did, what is wrong? Is there something really wrong with talking like that?
There's nothing wrong with it, but what is wrong is the fact that if you talk like that and you think talking proper English is bad or means you're trying to assimilate to the the powers that be, that's wrong. Because I should be able to be educated and have a vocabulary and speak and not be judged. Like, oh, well, why aren't you trying to be, why aren't you saying, yo, man, what, why aren't you saying that? Why can't I just be who I am?
I might be wrong, but I'm sure if America was 100% black, 100% black, let's say America's 100% black, and the president of the United States came up on the podium and said, yo, what up? Nobody would have a problem. Right? Nobody have a problem.
For 8 years, I was waiting for that to happen. For eight years, actually not 8 years. The last 4 years, I thought maybe he would do that. Yo, what up, people? My country.
So are we? Is it really something wrong with it talking like that, or are we watching? Are we worried about what white people think?
I was gonna say,
I'm saying there's nothing wrong with talking like that, but you shouldn't judge the people that don't talk like that. See, that's what I'm saying.
Gerald, preach. If we were all black, I don't think anybody would have a problem. That's my thinking. If we were, listen, when I go to Barbados and I got 100% of people speaking that dialect, none of us have a problem with it. None of us. But we come to America, right? And you throw that Bajan accent or you throw that Caribbean accent, Jamaica, St. Lucia, whatever. Yeah. Now people have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Now there's white people around, and we don't want them to think that we're not smart.
One of the things I noticed is that Americans have a slow ear, and what I mean by that, most countries, other countries, when they speak really fast. Same in Barbados. When I went to Barbados, I had to sit there and really focus and listen to what people were saying because they were saying it so fast. It was still English, but it was faster and it had a slight accent. So I had to learn to listen faster. So the American culture, like even this pace now, I'm talking at a slow, measured pace. So, and
right.
But other countries, you go to Italy or France, and they're like, and it's like quick.
Yeah.
It's the American ear that's slower.
All right, Tanya, let me read a couple comments, and I want to read a couple comments. Patricia Felix said it's conditioning. We were talking earlier about our topic earlier. She said it's conditioning. And she mentioned like Jesus, how they try to white it. Jesus is no way, no shape, no form can be white, but they try to paint him as white. Rick Jenkins said something interesting. Rick, what up, Rick? Comedy studio in Somerville, Mass. If you guys get a chance, go out there, check out Rick's comedy club. Rick said Foghorn was based on the character of Allen Alley. Fred Allen's radio show was based on a racist Southern senator. So I guess that's where Foghorn came from. Pamela Jones said there's a big problem in animation, in Japanese animation. Those I've seen some pretty horrible things from Ivan knows. Japanese animation.
However,
and games. Pamela, if you could expound on that a little more. And should I be saying expound as a black man? I don't know. I hope.
I missed your point, Ivan. What was that? You were saying about the Japanese.
Pamela, if you can send us a link or comment further on the Japanese animation.
The anime is, they have a lot of great stuff, which hopefully will be changing after all the Proud Boys and all that stuff going on with discrimination against Asians. Hopefully, they will now have a picture in their head of why it's not good to do that.
Yeah,
and there's actually a black Japanese animation studio now in Japan. Like a black dude went to Japan. He used to live in New Jersey. He went there. He set up his own studio and is now doing like animation there. So as like the challenge and change like the stereotypes and stuff like that too. So there's hope.
Steve Kimbrough says white people don't own education, or black people don't own ignorance. That is absolutely true. Michelle Henson says disagree, Carl. Michelle, I'm not exactly sure. I said a bunch of stuff, but you can let me know. Michelle's a very, very good friend of mine who I care for very, very deeply. So this is not going back and forth, Michelle. You know I love you. I'm not sure what you disagreed with, but let me know.
Well, I think she was talking about your comment that says that if the whole country was black, they could talk the same.
And the president came out and said, "Yo, yo, yo, what up, my people?" Nobody would have a problem.
Right.
Probably true, but I just feel like we worry too much about what other people think about us, is what I was trying to say.
That's a conditioning.
Yeah. So
and it takes years, just like it took years to embed it in the mind of all of us, white and black. It's going to take years, and those of us in position to change and create a new visual and a new oral, I'll say, tradition, so that we can change it.
Yeah.
What's curious about is that there is a thought of a proper English, but when you think about how English is very dynamic, it changes a lot. There's always new words. It seems like a lot of the new words and the new things we talk about come from the black experience. Specifically, like you'll see white people saying, "Look at that bling bling you're wearing," and you know that where they got it from. The only problem with that is when they take on a word, it kind of loses its coolness.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Well, that goes to like stealing our stuff again. Remember that?
Yeah.
Where it's okay for Bo Derek to wear braids. She gets a 10. If I wear braids, they're like, "You look very African." I'm like, "I am."
Did you guys know they had to not to get off the topic, but they just passed the law in Connecticut and 5 other states where Des, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where black men are allowed to wear their hair in the natural state without being discriminated against.
Yeah, they're calling it the crown rule. And they're saying
they actually have to make a law, right, for a black man's natural hair to be worn, and not be discriminated against.
Right.
That's crazy.
Because companies where the ruling powers that be,
they had to make a law. That freaking blows my mind. They had to make a law for a black woman to wear her natural hair and not be discriminated against.
And do you know that's more psychological trauma and damage? Do you know how? Because now I'm telling you, look, we have to help you out once again.
They had to make a law. Natural hair.
Part of it was look at there was a twins, or there was a couple of girls in high school where they were discriminated against because their mother did their hair, and put some, add a little extension and put a little length to it, and the school was like, "Oh no, you can't have that in your hair," and stuff like that, and we're telling them they couldn't be on the track team and stuff because they had the extra thing in their hair, and their mother had to take it to court. They're saying this is a natural hairstyle for them. How are you going to say they can't wear that to school? And so things like that were happening, or job places were saying, "Oh, well, we have a dress code here, and that doesn't abide to our dress code." So they had to make a law to say, "Look, their hair is their hair, and they'll wear it, and that doesn't matter what your dress code says. You can't dress code their hair."
But it also tells me that if you have to put a law to that I'm unempowered in a way, because now it's telling me that I still have control over this, and I still say yes or no, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Hair?
Yeah. Natural hair that goes out of your head.
Well,
they had to make a law.
That's also part of their narrative where, just like in Boston, they used to have comics against racism. 5 white guys that are going up, and we're going to do this for you. We're doing this for racism for you.
Yeah.
Like, well, can I be a part of it? Oh no, we don't want you to be a part of it. You'll just mess it up. We'll do it for you.
Comments against racism, and Gerald and I were not on the show.
That's hilarious.
Yes, hilarious.
You know what? And I didn't need to be on it. Put a black face on it. Put a Latin face on it. Put someone of color, a woman, maybe. How about that? Someone that's not a white male.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Somebody white with a tan, at least. Somebody white with a really good tan. At least.
Yeah, they're really good tan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. They didn't want you to address.
Maybe they should get Baby Archie. Oh,
yeah.
I'm ahead of the game. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Ivan, when you draw your you do drawings, you write storyboards, or you just draw? You do storyboards also?
Yeah, do storyboards, do writing, and directing, like live action, and so whatever I can get my hands on, basically, to tell stories and like tell our stories and stuff. That's where I'm at. But
so if you draw your characters and you give them an afro, I'm sure they would have problems with afro, like cornrows.
Nowadays that stuff is popular, is in. A white girl trying to put cornrows on their hair and whatnot.
Yeah,
watching the Boondocks or something like that.
Yep.
What about what is it? There's 4 types of animation, isn't there? Something like entrance. What is it? Entrance, emphasis, exit, and path. What is that? I don't know. I was reading up something about different types of animation, and I couldn't understand what entrance, emphasis, exit, and path were.
They're talking about in terms of physical movement of like the animation. So like how a character enters the room and like how a character will exit. So that's like technical jargon, like the actual like physical movement and stuff. But there are like there's like stop motion animation, which is like where you're moving things like a little bit at a time, like Nightmare Before Christmas. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like stop motion. And then there's like your 3D, your 3D animation, like your regular Pixar movies, Toy Story and stuff like that. And then there's your traditional 2D animations like Foghorn Leghorn, or Warner Brothers, or anything that you see like that's hand drawn and stuff. And then there's like experimental stuff that's like everything in between. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Thank you.
But I know you guys were supposed to talk about the Royals too. Don't it doesn't be all about me. Yes,
baby Archie wants his time.
Yeah.
Word up.
Yeah. I mean, we can switch gears, and because we have to talk about the Royals, because we all saw that interview with Oprah, and one of the big things that we came away from, that there was talk in Buckingham Palace, which was built by slaves. Did the people in the back hear me? That Buckingham Palace was built by slaves. Now they're claiming they're worried about the color of the baby. I mean, look at Meghan Markle and look at Prince William. Is it William or what's his name? The other
Prince Harry.
Prince Harry.
Harry, yeah.
I mean, how much darker could their baby be? You know what I mean? Like, how racist do you have to be to look at those two and think that a little bit of black, you know what I mean? How much darker
Well, let me just first say this. If Prince William was with Meghan Markle, that would be a whole nother controversy. Are you with your brother's wife?
And then, of course, they said the thing, we're not racist. Everybody says, has anybody in the history of America ever come and say, listen, we are racist, and you guys don't have to deal with it because that's who we are?
That's a good
Proud Boys.
Huh?
I think that's how David Duke starts his barbecues. We here because we all racist, right?
Proud Boys, they admitted it. They were better than their clan ancestors because at least they took off their hoods.
See, I think they thought it was going to be a situation. Remember the movie Life?
No.
Yeah,
It was a
with
movie
Eddie
Life
Murphy.
with
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence,
Yeah.
and one of them got with the warden's daughter, and the baby came out, and it was a black, I'm talking about a black baby, like a baby that was out in the sun, playing in the sun, not wearing his sunblock. It was a really, 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 really dark baby. So they were afraid of like that happening because they're saying, you know, depending on if you have black in your family, somewhere in your lineage, if there was a dark member of your family, it doesn't matter how light you are, that gene can be passed on to your baby. And then just because you were light, your baby's going to take the color from your great grandfather who happened to have been dark. And all of a sudden, hey, you have a darker baby. Yes. I mean, my ex was the darkest of her sisters. You know, she had 3 sisters who were you know, so-called light skinned, but she was a more cocoa brown, you know. So
just on a historical perspective, the whole concept of royalists came from when the Moors invaded Europe. So you got to understand, the Europeans before this, they didn't have royalty. They had a council, and they would assign certain tasks to. When the Moors came up from Africa, they first invaded Spain in 711. They're the ones who built those castles. A lot of those castles was built by the black Moors from Africa. Yeah. And then specifically
1703, it was
great grandmother. The Queen's great grandmother was Queen Charlotte.
Yes, who was that black?
And she was black. And if you can look at her pictures now, and you could tell, you know, black knows black. So we know that she was black.
They lightened her up a bit, though. Really lightened her up a lot. Yeah.
Somebody in the media said Meghan Markle isn't black enough to experience racism.
That's stupid.
Wow.
She's
my
sure
mom was able to use the whites only water fountain, and she experienced racism.
Yeah, and plus with Meghan, that's not true, or we wouldn't be having this conversation at all.
That's true.
It would never even be a conversation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just that's crazy. I understand that there are some, you know, sometimes black people we like, oh, you light skin, you so light skin, you white, or you're so dark skin, you're this. We got that. I get that. But in this case, that is not the case at all because well, I'll put it this way: we claim her because this dialogue would never happen if she wasn't claimable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody, there would never even be a discussion. But because her mother is like well, quite a few shades better than me, is between me and Des, I'll say, right? Maybe that's why they were like, I wonder if, you know, which is a crazy question. I mean, I think as a mother, let me say, I tried to honestly ask myself, did I ever say, oh, I did say, what would my baby look like? The father, or the mother, big eyes like mine, or little? I did say that, but I didn't be like, I wonder if they'll be light or dark. Like that's not something you think because you don't care what color it is. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? You could care less. I know I could care less.
The only thing is, as a minority growing up, what I'm saying is, if I would have had a child that was blonde hair, blue eyes, everywhere I go, I'd be accosted. There's a man stealing a baby.
Yes, yes, and me too. My first daughter was very fair, let's say, and people were like, "Oh, you're her nanny." I was like, "I got your nanny, all right."
or maybe go back to that historic thing when you say, okay, if you have someone in your lineage who is dark or black, then that can be passed on to, you know, the baby at any point in time. So since the Queen's great grandmother was black, maybe it wasn't so much about Meghan Markle. Maybe they're worried that every time the royals have a baby, that royal gene from the black woman, the black ancestor, might pop out and be like, hey, the royals are really black, and they don't want that out there.
No, because if they did, they would have did it with the brother's other 3 kids. And something tells me, I strongly suspect, it's just a suspicion, that I know who said that remark. I want to guess it. I put money on it. Who said that remark? Because when I saw, you want me to say it?
Yeah,
we're not
sister-in-law or the father, one or the other, the sister-in-law or the father. You know what I'm talking about? The one with the 3 babies, whose kids are next in their line for whatever, Princess Charlotte next in there or whatever. But either her or Charles said it. One of the two. That's sure again.
I think it was Camilla.
What'd you say?
I think it was Camilla.
Nah, she doesn't have any importance. Who cares what she said? This has to be somebody like
exactly.
really important.
She doesn't have importance, but she's got
the craziness of the whole conversation, though, is that when sorry,
the craziness. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say the craziness of the whole conversation is when you consider that the Royal British Empire was a colonization unit that took over every country except for 22 of them, and 70% of their colonies are black. So I don't know why they would be so upset about black people being in their royal family.
Because
that's a difference if I own you versus I got to give you some of that money.
I mean, is anybody on this panel shocked that there is racism in the royal family? Anybody go?
I am appalled.
Yeah,
I was completely dismayed. I could not believe what I heard. I was like, Oprah is lying.
It's coming out.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Talk about
my made me clutch my pearls.
Somebody just wrote a comment. Some white dude saying calm down. Or telling us to calm down. Like one of those, like we're angry. He was trying to.
That's what he said.
I deleted it because I really didn't want to see it.
Oh, I like stuff like that because that's what we need. We need people like that so that we can comment back and say, calm down. Okay. When they stop all this racism, we'll calm down.
Can anybody do an English accent? I'm just curious.
I can do one. Which one would you prefer? Do you want really Cockney or do you want English like the Queen? Which one would you like?
Do like the Queen.
Oh, well, if you're talking like the Queen, you must be very extremely proper. Okay, you absolutely cannot get words wrong.
I dated a girl from London, and I would go over there, and I would try to talk like them. So I spent like 3 weeks over there. Like at first, I sounded like my favorite cartoon used to be the Bungalows. Do you guys remember that? These that were people. Anyway, I was over there like, "Hi, everybody, how we doing?" And then by the time I was done, though, they couldn't tell I wasn't from London.
Oh, but probably you must have did really well then. It depends on what
doing it. I was like in character. That's all I did is talk like I was English.
Good for you. You must have really good.
And you know, England is like how people from down south in America don't talk like people from up north, and so it depends on where. So you must have sounded like idiots.
You must have really. They have like Cockney.
I must have sounded like the Forrest Gump of England. Yeah. Like, Mama said chocolate is good.
No, my favorite is when they talk
Cockney. Actually, Ivan, you've been to London a couple of times.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Like I said, like for me, the crazy thing is like, you know, when people are like find out my name, they're like, you know, oh, so what's your name, mate? And it's like, oh, it's like, what are you? You know, it's like, oh, you know, and it's like, yeah, there's this whole reaction of like, you know, like, did you get crap? Have you been knighted?
Yeah.
You know, like, are you putting ends? You know.
You should say, I've been knighted by my mom.
Yeah, and people always ask, even people in America will ask me that, and I just start making up lies. It's like, oh yeah, my father served in the Royal Air Force. You know, you know, I owe a favor to the Queen. You know, or, you know.
I love that name. That's a fabulous name, sir. Yes.
I'm gonna play a little bit of Falcon Leghorn. Tell me if you guys think that. That was a good one. But yeah,
he's a little violent, that chicken. He's got the nerve. That's my favorite staple of food.
Yeah. But
you don't feel bad when you now, see?
Yeah. And Star Wars also did in one of their movies, there was some controversy about one of the characters being, guys, remember that?
Jar Jar Binks.
No, not Jar Jar Binks.
No, that actually was controversy around Jar Jar Binks.
No, the last series of Star Wars, the guy, they made him a janitor, which was funny on the battleship, and then he's supposed to have like the Force, but he's such a scaredy cat. All he does is run around the whole show, the whole movie.
Yeah.
What about J.K. Rowling's when she wanted to put Hermione, what's her name? Hermione, the black lady from England with the short hair. They wanted to put her as one of the characters, and people flipped out, and it was like, "What? You can't do that." And she was like, I can do whatever I want. Yeah, that was crazy. Hermione, I can't remember her name. British actress, really great actress actually. But it worked out, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go around and ask you guys, what do you think we should do? I mean, it's okay to sit here and talk about all the crap we have to deal with because we're black. And I know when Steve Kimbrough, when he was on the show, he's been commenting today. Hey, what's up, Steve? My feeling is like the Weeknd is boycotting the Grammys because he doesn't feel that they're doing a service to black people, and I just feel we should just totally disregard all these the Grammys, the Oscars. Why do we feel we need to be a part? Why, seriously, like, and all these animation shows. Ivan can start his own thing, you know what I mean? Get all the black people, all the talented black people with him, create our own stuff. There's enough black people in America to make this work. Why do we keep going to these white people and like begging, please treat us nicely, and they consistently don't, and we keep going back. Like black people keep going back to the Grammys, we keep going back for the Oscars or the Golden Globe Awards. You know what I mean? And white people pretty much saying, "Hey, we don't want you in our thing. Okay, we give you, we make something up to make you feel good." My opinion is, to hell with all of them. Let's start our own stuff. It might not be as great because they had a head start, right? So we can give away Gerald's Lester Award. You know, it might not be, but if we put a value on it, it has a value on it, right? If we put a value on our stuff, it has a value. But we put more value on their stuff than we do on our stuff.
Yes.
So Tanya, what's your solution? How can we make this better so we don't, you know what I mean?
Well, the first thing is every human being has the sense that they want to belong to something. So I think that is where you get people like, "Oh, won't you like me? Don't you accept me?" Because if you're in any artistry, any field at all, you want people to like your work. And if you're the top person, I want you to like my work. But my theory is yours is well, Carl doesn't like my work. I'm going to go to Gerald. I'm going to go to Des. I'm going to go to Sarah. That's who I'm going to go to. But that takes a lot of mental training to get yourself to that level where you feel comfortable just saying, "Okay, I may not make it to Hollywood. I'm going to have to do my own Bollywood or whatever." You know what I'm saying? But it takes a lot of training, and it takes a lot of being consistent with whatever it is your gift is. So I'm very big on whatever you do. There's no one that can stop your shine, including Hollywood. So even if it's right now, no, I can't write the screenplay because they don't think it's realistic. That's fine. It may take me a while to find backers who will like it, but you got to be persistent, and we have to be confident in ourselves a little bit more, I think, because we spend billions of dollars in all the industries. Forget fashion, forget hair, forget movie, all of the above. We spend billions of dollars. It is proven, Carl, you are right. We have the money and we spend the money. So Hollywood, as they find this out, like they did with Tyler Perry, who opened his own, and like they did with Oprah and all the other people, they said, "Wait a minute, can I get a little piece of that cheese?" So now they're accommodating and saying, "Oh, we'll let one or two in, or we'll let you in if you're, if you're this or if you're that." They got these little conditions with they string this minority contracts along with, which is fine. But I'm one of those people that I don't care if they don't like me. I'm doing what I do. And if I don't make it to Hollywood, oh well, Broadway's just as good, you know? So we have to be comfortable in ourselves. We have to be confident, and we have to be persistent on supporting each other and figuring out ways that we can make it happen. And then if they want to come along, you tag along with me. I'm not tagging along with you. That's how I am. So thank you, Carl.
You're welcome. Ivan, your thoughts on how we can do better as people?
I think everybody needs to buy guns. I know, I'm just kidding. Next year, FCC comes and shuts this whole place down, and you know. I think what Tanya said is spot on, and I think they're really.
A red card was for you. You get a red card.
Yeah. I think what Tanya said is spot on, and I think the ironic thing is, like, when Black people go and do their own thing and just say, I'm not concerned about what anybody else thinks, they come along anyway, and they go, like she said, like, hey, that hip hop you're creating is really kind of cool. Can we have some of that? And then, like, the next thing you know, everybody's all up in it, and then you're like, oh man, you done spoiled it. I gotta go make something else. So like, it happens, so just do your own thing. I think the Thelonious Monk was like, do your own thing, and eventually everybody else will catch up with you, So, yeah.
Gerald, do you think Black people should go with hat in hand to white Hollywood and say, please let us in?
The way you say it. Please let me in, please.
So they don't need to, because they have, like, people have mentioned Tyler Perry. People have mentioned that, Oprah opened her network. Byron Allen has bought a network. Okay. Other people have bought networks. So they're coming, or we're coming, and if you don't let us in yours, we don't care. We'll take our Lester, and our Lester will become as big as your Oscar. But besides that, we already are parts of super big movies. Black Panther was mentioned earlier. Yeah, they had a white guy in Black Panther. Actually, he was one of the white criminals. And guess what? He was killed by one of the other Black characters. Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan. He killed the white character and then brought his head in a bag to give to one of the Africans. See? So it's like, we don't mind having a white character and we get to kill him. It's like, and put his head in a bag and then bring it to somebody else. That's okay. So apparently they were okay with that. But it has to fit their narrative. That's what it is. It has to fit their narrative, and that's what they're concerned about. That they always want everything to fit their narrative.
Desi, do you think we should flex and do their yoga pose just to please Hollywood?
I can do yoga. I just look like I don't know. I look like it's not a pretty sight. What I think we got to do is we got to realize that our culture is really unique in that we're a culture within a culture. And what we have to do is kind of not necessarily block out the outside world, but we have to turn in on ourselves. I grew up in a predominantly white society, but my family and my immediate neighborhood, we always stress self-esteem and certain class and dignity. And we all conducted ourselves with class and dignity. And if someone came in not doing that, we would pull them to the side and be like, no, we don't do that here. We conduct ourselves at a higher level. So what we have to do collectively as a group, first of all, we got to admit that we didn't really choose the circumstances that we're under now, and it's unnatural for us to be in this world the way it is. We have to mentally educate ourselves so that we can counter the attacks that's going to come at us. And then finally, like everyone's saying but afraid to say, power is not given, power is taken. So you have to be prepared mentally. You got to be prepared emotionally. Somebody who's a leader, like the lion never cares about the opinion of the sheep or the lamb.
Exactly.
The lion does what the lion does. We have to stop putting such an emphasis. I mean, everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants accepted, but we can't put our whole esteem based on how we're accepted by the dominant society. So this show is helping. Talking among ourselves is helping. Putting it out there is helping. When we get on Facebook and we debate different ideas with intelligence, and that helps. And I think when we're educating our kids, they're seeing this. So unfortunately, it's not going to be a revolution like you would used to, where you just take your guns in the street and get rid of everyone with an opposing opinion. We don't have to do that. We have to have a revolution of the mind. We have to make sure that, and we're seeing that come piece by piece. What we're seeing is something that is obviously racist that no one ever considered, but you got people who are dismantling that and saying, no, we're not going to accept it. And now what's happening is the dominant society is doing it themselves to edit themselves because they don't want to go forward with the image that they allowed that. So we are having an effect. We have to stay on code. We have to keep working with each other, love everybody. But at the same time, know who you are and never undervalue your mind, your thought, your ideas, and your actions.
Yeah. That loving one another. I hate it when I walk by black people and I say hello and they don't speak back. I want to shoot them. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Red card.
He gets a red card. He got a double red card.
Never mind.
You know what I mean? Like, you look them right in the eye.
Promoting gun violence. What's wrong with you?
You know what I mean? I figure after everything that's been going on in America, we would have some kind. I feel a connection to every single black person I see because I know we all dealing with the same crap.
But I say hi to everybody. I say hi. What's up?
You don't get the head nod. You don't just walk by and go the.
I do all that. I say hello. You know what I mean? What's good, brother? Is everything all right? All right. You know what I mean? But some of them, I guess. All right. Let me say thank you, Patricia, Felix. Thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you so much for all the videos you've been sending me. I really appreciate it. I watch them all and I make notes off of all of them. Patricia is Kevin's better half. Why do you always say the woman is the better half?
Because we are. Don't even debate it. Don't even debate it.
I think Kevin.
Because if you say better whole, it sounds sexual. So you say better.
What I mean, it always makes a woman to be the better part of the relationship.
He gets half a card for that one.
You know what I mean, Kevin is a great guy, so there's just a half. There's no better half, and no offense, Patricia. Not saying that you're not a good half, but Kevin is just as good. Is all I'm saying. Norma Staley, thank you so much for watching. I'm not going to get to everyone. Pamela Jones, you said she made a comment about the Japanese animation. Definitely going to look that up. That might be a topic for us. Michelle Henson, thank you so much. Charlene Ford, Anthony Robertson, who came to our rescue, who started yelling at the guy that told us to calm down.
That's right.
How can anybody watch this show and see anger? You know what I mean? Like,
because that's called guilt, Carl. Some people, if you watch this show and you feel like, oh my God, they're talking about me, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, maybe I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Because if I watch a show and they're talking about, black people speaking out of dialect or whatever, I'm in the context of things, I'm not going to get offended. I don't care. I don't care.
This might seem like a stretch, but to me, that's how black people get shot. Because a police pulls you over, and they're going to see it. No matter what you do, they see an angry person, and then you get shot. And it's people like this guy who told us. I should have saved the comment. I just didn't want to look at it. Yeah. It was just irritating me, so I just deleted it. Karen Francis, thank you.
He's not even from here, by the way. The guy that made that comment, he's not
you
from
saw
here.
it?
Yeah, it's still on the page. You'll see it.
Okay, it is? Okay. I deleted it from here.
That's hilarious, guy.
Calm down. He says calm down. Lisa Osborne, thank you so much. Patricia is laughing. Yes, Patricia. Kevin is just as good. That makes the relationship whole. But we love both of you, of course. So thanks to everyone for watching the show. Thanks, Ivan. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you.
Please look at Ivan's work. Ivan, I heard you're starting your own.
Ivan, sir.
Hat in hand.
Carl's known me since I was a kid.
I know.
Ivan is
Oh, he gets an exception? Wait a
Daryl
minute.
introduced him as
He gets a
Ivan.
pass.
He
He's
was
part
like,
of the family. They were both in my
Sure.
wedding. So how can I say, you know?
That's a friend of nation. Okay.
Okay. Hey,
Friend of nation.
he was a groomsman. He was the best man. Of course, they know each other. Okay.
We both tried to stop Gerald, but he wouldn't listen. Lisa Osborne, thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh, is that your mother-in-law, Desi?
Yeah, that's my mother-in-law. She's a regular now.
All
right.
We have to get her on.
Darlene Ford, and I think I thank Karen Francis. Thanks to everyone for watching the show. Remember, we're here every Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. if you're on the West Coast. Please try to watch us on YouTube. That's where we can do a lot more with our show. And that's where our show can really grow. So we're trying to move everyone towards YouTube. If you get a friend request from Cinco Negro, that's us on Facebook. Every time I say that, I can't help it. We're Cinco Negro.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Cinco Negro, yes. But you gotta say it was kind of a, I don't even know what my Spanish accent would be, but you got to say Cinco Negro.
Yeah. Cinco Negro.
No, you got to say it faster. Remember, everybody talks faster except Americans. Cinco Negro.
Cinco Negro. Yeah, so thanks to everyone for watching in. We love all of you and really appreciate you tuning in to us every Saturday and listening to us. It's really appreciated. Thanks, everyone, very, very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.